So Theresa May's Brexit options seem to be narrowing. The EU has rejected a key part of her proposal for a trade deal with the bloc. The EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, says he'll never allow a non-member to collect tariffs and run its customs policy. The Prime Minister has just 12 weeks until a divorce deal is meant to be signed. Jane Foley's here, head of FX strategy at Rabobank. I like the old days, Jane and I on the early show.
Yes.
Jane, I mean, every day you're up because sterling's up because, it's going to be a soft deal. And then a day later you get something like this.
Yes.
Where does this leave us?
Well, to be honest, I think for some time now, many investors are on the sidelines anyway. We can see that by the, volatility isn't that great when you consider the amount of political certainties there. But, sterling is on the back foot. Having said that, it is trading up near at 0.89 against the euro. That is a soft pound. But I think that we've got a different political stance here. So Theresa May announced earlier this week that she is taking over the Brexit negotiations. She, I think, this week is going to Austria to try and lobby support for her deal. I think some of her ministers are also going to Germany. Now, that's quite interesting because the Germans have got a lot at stake. They do export an awful lot to the UK. And we've got to remember that the EU exports an awful lot to the UK than we export to them. So there is potentially some political leverage that she can win on that sort of side.
But no customs deal. Labour wants a customs deal. The Remainers want a customs deal. That boxes her into a corner, doesn't it?
Well, business,
of course, wants it. I mean, is she going to go back on another red line?
Well, again, we've got very little time to... No one knows the answer. No one knows the answer. And we've got very little time. Now, the EU and the UK are both saying that they can have a deal in place by October, but an awful lot of people are getting very, very worried about this. Time is running short. We've got the holidays, and I think she's only taking a one-week break. But really, we've got the parliamentary holidays. We're running out of time. We'll come back in September. Suddenly it's going to be October, and there isn't much time. So the market will be worried. Now, most banks, I believe, do have as their, or most market commentators, shall we say, do have as their central forecast a deal will be in place. And I think that's something which is giving sterling a little bit of protection, that and the expectation that the Bank of England can hike. But if we begin to approach October, people begin to worry that there won't be a deal, sterling has a lot of downside potential.
Guys, can we bring up this WIRP function? I've got it on my screen. You can bring it up. WIRP, WIRP Go. Probabilities, Jane, 91%. They can't disappoint, can they, like they did in May?
It could happen.
Really?
Well, I don't think they will. I mean, from the Bank of England, they're more or less been given a free lunch. If the market is anticipating that they're going to hike, they might as well do it. Because I think from their perspective, if we look at November, if we look at February, if there is uncertainty with respect to Brexit, those windows are more or less closed. So they might as well go in August. Because
this could be the last one for a while.
It could be the last opportunity.
Even longer.
Precisely. Now, if there is a smooth Brexit, then obviously the windows open up again and they can potentially do it. But I think from the Bank of England's perspective, we've got to consider that they probably do want to normalise. Most central banks, I think, would like to normalise if they have the ability to do it. I think the economic data have been more or less playing along. We had some softer indications, but more or less. But if the market is expecting it, if it's not going to be disruptive, then they might as well do it.